Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks a lot for tuning in, really appreciate it. I hope everyone is doing well. Shout out to all the subscribers, welcome along anyone new, gratitude to everyone. So Anthony Joshua takes on Daniel Dubois later today. I'm meant to get this video up on Monday and Tuesday. I've just moved, so I've had this whole week has been so hectic, and you know, when I tried to move in, I thought in my head it'd be a couple of days, but it's been so hectic and many stuff to unpack. It's taken me so long to get to do this video, so apologies. You know, I hope you guys get to enjoy the fight. There's a great undercard. It starts in about 5 or 6 hours, but I'll talk about my prediction in this video because, you know, I've been watching a lot of footage lately, and I've been watching a lot of footage just to get some, you know, fresh thoughts and ideas on this fight, because it is a really good fight. You know, AJ's got the chance to be a 3-time world champion, although I know there's some people who have disputed that, claimed just because the belt got stripped so quickly and whatever. It's still a belt, and if he beats Dubois, he's a 3-time champ. You know, I think, you know, I don't see what the big problem is. Anyway, let's get into the particulars of the fight, because this is kind of a keys to victory. I'm going to just ramble a little bit. There's not going to be as much footage as I like to put on because, you know, I'm a little pressed for time. I've got to work later tonight, but I promise I'll get this room up and ready soon. It's going to be, you know, hopefully a nice look going forward. But anyway, appreciate your patience. But AJ, right? Look, he's by far the more skilled fighter, right? He's got a very nice educated jab now, and that could be the big difference. You know, people talk about Daniel Dubois' jab and it being good, and it's potentially his best punch. I know Shane McGregor mentioned his left hook was his best punch, but Dubois' jab is pretty good, but it's also one-dimensional. You know, it's heavy, it comes forward, it's thrown with good power. Not always the most accurate, but it doesn't have the variety and the education that AJ's jab does. For example, against Ngannou. Now, AJ, we'll get on to how much time he's going to have to use that jab in a minute, but against Ngannou and against Wallin, really, and he's been doing it, he variates his jab, not just from where he throws it, but the velocity of it, which I think is going to be massively important. And he can explode into, you know, sharp, quick, not combinations, but 1-2s. I suppose that is a combination, but like...
Fire some shots through the middle, get your foot on the outside, the right hand, big right hand, that stood Wallin back.
The change of speed and the change of levels, and just the IQ that AJ brings, not just with his jab, but with his movement, with the pace of what he's doing. His concentration looks pretty good. And like I said, variating the jab up, down. And one of the key things, actually, for me, what I noticed, just, I can't believe I didn't notice it earlier, is Daniel Dubois' complete inability to defend a jab or a right hand. He just has no idea how to do it, really. He doesn't really move his head, you know. He doesn't really know how to step back, and a step back is probably the most powerful defensive move in boxing. It's just a little step back, but you know, AJ does it quite well. Dubois doesn't do that. He just keeps his hands up here. He might do it a little bit, but he has a massive lack of understanding of how to defend a jab. And if you can't defend a jab, well, you're going to have a hard time defending what's behind the jab, which is AJ's right hand, which I think personally will be the main weapon for AJ, you know. If the fight does end up close, which it probably could, if Dubois presses the action, which a lot of us, including me, think he should do, then, you know, those uppercuts and AJ's inside work might come into play. But I think AJ, well, let's start with how the fight will probably start, because Dubois has to be aggressive, really. Do you know, I think the longer he sits and waits, this is a key to victory, is for Dubois to be first, right? That's a boxing term where, you know, when there's like a moment where two fighters are kind of squaring off like that, and there's just you know, that millisecond too long where nobody really goes for it. That's called being first, when a fighter makes that first initial move, whether it be a double jab right hand, which Dubois probably better off doing, the double jab to back AJ up and then sending those combinations, back him up on the ropes and stuff like that. Really put a little bit of fear into AJ, you know, don't give him the time to be comfortable and let his jabs and right hands go. So I think Dubois, you know, key for me is to be first in the moments, but, you know, not recklessly first either. You know, you got to be, I say intelligent. He's not the most intelligent fighter, to be honest, but his tenacious gung-ho-ness, if you will, might serve him really well, especially early on. If he can really get AJ to think and put him on the back foot, like I said, land some shots, rough him up a little bit, be physical, and just start like that. Because the longer he waits, and the longer he's not first, and the longer he lets AJ be comfortable, flash that jab, and he was getting peppered with right hands by Filip Hrgović, and obviously that's a big talking point. Is can he take those shots? Personally, I don't think he can. If you look at how Ngannou came out, he came out quite well in the first round against AJ, and then he got nuked with the first right hand was just a solid straight right hand. He landed clean. I can see him doing the same thing to Dubois.
Just taking that right hand on the left glove. Focus. Oh! AJ touched him, he went down!
I just think it's only a matter of time, to be honest. Like, it was target practice because of Dubois' inability to parry a jab, step back, move his head, keep his hands up. He boxes like this, loads of holes in there. AJ's right hand to the belly will be an important punch. Jab upstairs, right hand to the belly. Why? Because there's so much space under there. And to variate the attack as well. And just to give Dubois more to think about, something else that I noticed that Dubois does, which is a massive mistake, and Filip Hrgović was doing this, right? He was throwing the jab and he was trying to pour down his lead jab as well. So he's creating a little distraction, and Dubois just shuts his eyes.
Right. Who can land a bigger right hand? Dubois taking a few, flush, but taking his feet out of range. There was one high on top of the head of Dubois.
And if you look at, I'll try and get a screenshot of him and Ngannou when they're trying to defend, and they both just squint their eyes and close their eyes like that. Like that's such an amateurish thing to do as a high level boxer. At that level, you get found out. And a simple deflecting jab like that AJ can create a diversion, and Dubois just doesn't have the IQ to be able to deal with that. And I think once he starts getting cracked with those right hands, I think it could be an early night, to be honest with you. I thought it might be maybe like 8 or 9 rounds initially, but the more I think about it, the more I just think he's going to get lit up by AJ. But that will depend on Dubois' game plan. Now, this is another key to victory, because I don't know if they really had a game plan against Filip Hrgović, because obviously it was to back him up and sort of land, double jab right hand, and we're talking about it in the corner, and that's another disconnect that really worries me at this level is he really snapped at Don Charles in the first minute, in the first round. Go and look at the first round corner work. He's trying to get Daniel's attention. He barely looked at him in the eyes, if even that.
Daniel, listen to me. Daniel, listen to me.
And there was another corner guy, they were both talking to him, and he was just there. It looked very worrying, really, to be honest, to have that kind of relationship. Obviously, Don Charles, I don't know if he's shown up yet. It's rumored to have a cold or gone missing. At the highest level, a good corner work can be 5 to 10%, whether it be game plan, whether it be in the fight game plan as well. Ben Davison, obviously well proven at that. He's had many good game plans as of late. And he does his analytics and he gets through to his fight, and this is a massive important thing in this fight. Little 5 to 10% can be that much, really. If you get your game tactics on and and you've been doing a film study and your fighter listens to you, it could be all the difference. And one thing he said to AJ, right? AJ did this combination against the Wallin, and this is where, depending on how much time AJ will have to do this could be important, but he's just, flashing the jab like that, and he's going, and then boom, he'll just strike and attack, a little change of speed, right? Change of velocity, and both punches it caught Wallin off guard. Didn't really land, but it's something like that. If Dubois gives AJ enough time, that could really cause problems. The change of velocity. So, Dubois, a key to victory would be to actually have a game plan, because I tried to click on the link where Don Charles said we talked about game plan, but because it was on Sky Sports, it wasn't in this region, so I couldn't watch the footage. But I thought of that before I saw the headline. I was like, what game plan are they going to do? Because against Jarrell Miller, you're almost forced to have a game plan, right? Just don't fight him too much, turn him, box, jab, fight a little bit. And that was, well executed, but the game plan gets forced to you. Against somebody like AJ, who's going to think a lot more, you're going to need to have a layered game plan, and I don't think Dubois got the IQ for that. That's not to say he can't win. That's not to say that he can't rough up AJ, have some success, put him in his box a little bit, and dominate him early, and maybe do enough damage on the inside, or make it real physical and bully him. Because he is physically strong, probably physically stronger. Daniel Dubois' punch, I'm not convinced his punches are so powerful, because his technique is a little off. He comes lunging in, he doesn't get the full center of gravity and leverage behind his shots that I think personally he could. He's got a good punch, don't get me wrong. A lot of that comes from his physicality, but I think if he sorted his technique out, because it's a little inconsistent, it could be it could be monstrous. But he's often lunging in off balance and loses a lot of the power from the fact his stance is a bit off when he comes attacking. Not all the time, and his punches aren't, personally, it's just my opinion, of course, aren't really. He doesn't seem to get the 80-90% of the technique. And honestly, I've looked at his physique. And I think, because he is so big and muscular up top like that, and wide backed as well, I think that's what forces his arms out here, and that's what creates the off punches. When they're like this, it's a little easier to get them straight. But when you're wide like that and you can't bring your arms down, it's going to automatically create a weirder technique, right? Definitely. So I don't know if that's part of it, but I think AJ will be looking to, definitely a check hook is something that AJ should hopefully have worked on in camp, because I'll show you a check hook, what Ergovic did, which you could use because Dubois likes to come and back him up with a double jab and then throw a bit of a looping shot, and that looping shot right there, a little check hook.
When he's tired, that's when he had to stop it as soon as he stopped. He's panicked when he's tired.
You don't even have to land bang on like the face or anything. You can just shoot it at his arm and just check him off. A check hook really is offense matched with defense, not just a counter left hook, right? The check hook definitely means when you land a shot, get off the line, whether you pivot or you step out. Ergovic does a hook, but he doesn't really step out, but you see he catches the ball. I'll try and find the clip. And because the ball is so wide open, there's definitely ability. If AJ's backed up and the jab is getting breached, I think a left hook, definitely a check hook to just turn him, As I said, it doesn't have to be acutely accurate. You can just use it, maybe hit him on the arm, actually, to be honest. Just shoot him wherever, just to get the threat away from him. It wouldn't take a lot of effort, get off the line, get back to the middle, use your jab. But I'm sure I'm probably missing bits and pieces. I wish I could do a more detailed, comprehensive breakdown. What was it, 12:30? Yeah, ultimately, look, I think Dubois has to come out early. He has to put the pressure on. He's obviously younger. He's got fresher. He's got a good tank. He's got a pretty good chin, really. He was taking a lot of big shots off Ergovic, but can he take those off AJ? Can he put AJ in his box a little bit? Can he put him on the back foot and have AJ think a little bit? Has AJ got the slickness that he's talked about for so long? Because being a slick boxer, a lot of it's defensive. I think AJ's step back games, his jab, his concentration, it's all coming together. But will he be forced to really bring it out against Dubois? I'd love to see it, because that would be what AJ's talking about. Diffusing, finessing the power is slickness, really. If you can do that. That's with the jab, with the movement, with the feints too. AJ's just gonna have offensively. If Dubois hangs around too long and it isn't first, as I mentioned, it could be a field show or a field day for AJ with that 1-2. Jab to the stomach, jab to the head, right hand to the stomach. Just keep Dubois guessing, especially pouring with that jab, create distraction, because it just, every single time Ergovic was doing it, it seemed like he would just close his eyes. But, look, I hope we get a good fight. I don't know if it will be a good fight in terms of the competitiveness. It could be. I do think AJ should really win quite convincingly. I think he's going to be over quite early. I do think AJ is going to get rid of him in like 4 or 5 rounds. If Dubois gives him the time. But if Dubois puts on the gas early and starts to be really aggressive, which he really could do, then perhaps it could go a bit longer and AJ could find his way maybe in the 8th or 9th, maybe the 10th. But I think Dubois got to stick to that game plan, right? And if he starts getting cracked, that will change things. You know, everybody's got a game plan until they get punched in the face. But anyway, that's it from me. Let me know what you guys think of this, and thanks for your patience too. And look out for me to really jazz this office up, because I'm excited about this new move. We're going to really do it up, so I'm going to put a lot more content out as soon as I'm fully in, because I had to work tonight, I had to work last night, and I had to work Thursday. So I've just been trying to, unpack all this stuff and get this wall looking, like a content wall. Anyway, that is it from me. I hope you guys are well. Thank you again for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. It's got to come from the heart. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. Peace and love. I'm out of it.